I'm going to be reading with an effort to try to make the voices sound differently so that you can follow it a little bit better. This is the transcript of the court hearing slapdown of the special counsel Mueller people for when they were going up against Paul Manafort to find out. It says transcript of motion before the Honorable T.S. Ellis the third, not to be confused with T.S. Eliot. Very similar, interesting name. T.S., T as in Tom, S as in Sam, Ellis, E-L-L-I-S, the third. Okay, so I'm going to start here. This is Mr. Weissman. Good morning, Your Honor. Andrew Weissman for the Special Counsel's Office. With me today are Michael Dreeben, who will be arguing the motion, Greg Andrus, and Uzo Asanyi. Yes, good morning to all of you. Who will argue today for Mr. Weissman? Dreeben. Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Dreeben. All right, spell that for us. That's D as in David, R-E as in Echo, E as in Echo, B as in boy, E as in Echo, N as in November. Okay, and Mr. Asyani, I'm glad to see you here. I indicated that the special counsel should have local counsel, and that's you. Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. Good morning. All right, for the defendant who's here. Good morning, Your Honor. Thomas Zenley on behalf of Mr. Manafort. With me is Kevin Downing. All right, and also with you is... the defendant, Mr. Manafort. I'm sorry. All right, good morning to all of you. Who will argue today? Mr. Downing will argue today, Your Honor. All right, spell that for me. Mr. Downing's name is D-O-W-N-I-N-G. The court, all right, thank you. The matter is before the court today on your motion, Mr. Downing, so you may begin. I have some knowledge. Let me ask a few facts so that I can be clear. Let me ask the government, or not the government, the special counsel, a few questions, Mr. Dreeben. Yes, Your Honor. All right. The indictment against Mr. Manafort was filed in February, but it actually was antedated by a filing in the District of Columbia. These allegations of bank fraud, of false income tax returns, of failure to register or report rather failure to file reports by foreign bank accounts and bank fraud. These go back to 2005 and 2007 and so forth. Clearly, this investigation of Mr. Manafort's bank loans and so forth antedated the appointment of any special prosecutor. Therefore, must have been underway in the Department of Justice for some considerable period before the letter of appointment, which is dated the 17th of May in 2017. Am I correct? That's correct, Your Honor. All right. So when the special prosecutor was appointed, and I have the letter of appointment in front of me, what did they do? Turn over their file on their investigation of Mr. Manafort to you all? Essentially, Your Honor, special counsel was appointed to conduct an investigation. I'm sorry. Answer my question. Did you remember what my question was? Yes, Your Honor. Let me do that again. Yes, Your Honor. I was attempting to answer your question. We did acquire the various investigatory threads that relate to Mr. Manafort upon the appointment of the special counsel. apparently. If I look at the indictment, none of that information has anything to do with links or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of Donald Trump. That seems to me to be obvious because they all long predicate any contact or any affiliation of this defendant with the campaign. So I don't see what relation this indictment has with anything the special prosecutor is authorized to investigate. It looked to me instead that what is happening is that the investigation was underway. It had something. The special prosecutor took it, got the indictments, and then in a time-honored practice, which I'm fully familiar with, it exits largely in the drug arena. It exists largely in the drug arena. If you get somebody in a conspiracy and get something against them, you can then tighten the screws and you will begin to provide information what you're really interested in. That seems to me to be what is happening here. I'm not saying it's illegitimate, but I think we ought to be very clear about these facts and what is happening. Now, I think you've already conceded appropriately that the investigation that has led to this indictment long antedated the appointment of special prosecutor, that it doesn't have anything to do with Russia or the campaign, and that he's indicted, and it's useful, as in many cases by prosecutors, to exert leverage on the defendant so that the defendant will turn and provide information or what is really in the focus of the special counsel. Where am I wrong on this in this regard? The issue, I think, before you is whether Mr. Manafort can dismiss the indictment based on his claim. Yes, I asked you, where am I wrong about this? Oh, Your Honor, our investigatory scope does cover the activities that led to the indictment in this case. It covers bank fraud in 2005 and 2007. Yes, because, tell me how. Well, Your Honor, the authorization for the special counsel to investigate matters is described generally in the appointment order on May. I have it right in front of me, and it wasn't a surprise. It won't surprise you to learn that I'm fully familiar with it. My question to you was, how does bank fraud and these other things that go before the 2008, go back to 2005 and 2007, how does that have anything to do with links / or coordination between Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of Trump? Oh, so the authorization order permits investigation of two different things that are described in separate clauses. The first are links and coordination between individuals associated with the Trump campaign and the Russian government's effect to influence the election. Mr. Manafort was a campaign official. You're running away from my question again. I'm focused on the indictment that is here. Correct. Okay, it involves facts and circumstances and go back as far as 2005 and forward Mr. Manafort's loans from several banks that you all claim he submitted fraudulent statements. I'm asking you, and I've already established this investigation long predicated special counsel. So what is really going on? It seems to me it is that this indictment is used as a means of extorting pressure on the defendant to give you information that that is in your appointment. But it itself has nothing whatsoever to do with it. Well, Your Honor, I understand the question. I'm trying to explain why I think that it doesn't have to do with an investigatory scope, and I think there are a couple of premises that may help illuminate the investigatory scope is. What the investigatory scope is. The first one is that it is examining an individual who was associated with the Donald Trump campaign and did have Russian affiliated connections, which Mr. Manafort did. Are you Russian or Uzbekistan, Mr. Dreeben? Both. Mr. Manafort worked extensively in Ukraine, and he also has a business connection and other connections to individuals associated with Russia. In following the leads from these things, investigators want to understand the full scope of the relationship, how he was paid and whom he was associated, what happened to the money, and that leads to the activities that are at issue in this indictment.